I am Mr. Botuo, the scribe of Tatsujin Sara. Kansatsu, or observation, is a major part of Banyu. Not only is a Tatsujin to be always aware of his or her surroundings as they play Pokemon Go, but they are to make note or observations of the gameplay itself. Without Kansatsu, a Tatsujin is unable to make plans and prepare for battles against gyms. Kansatsu forms the backbone for what the namesake of why a Tatsujin is called a Tatsujin. While on our journeys Tatsujin Sara and I have noticed various things concerning Pokemon Go. And it seems with each update the rules of the game keep changing, requiring a Tatsujin to adapt the strategy. This is why Kansatsu is so important. While it is very true many play Pokemon Go using the empty purse, it has been observed that those Tatsujin who actually invest wisely the coin using the Hon of Kansatsu will find that the Pokemon will be actually stronger overall in comparison. Not to mention they themselves will more than likely be higher in level. It has also been observed that regardless of how much coin a Tatsujin spends, one cannot overcome the fact that living in the wastelands where there are no Pokéstops or gyms can result in a lower potential overall. This has been the biggest complaint among many players living in the wastelands. A Tatsujin always needs to consider wisely how to spend the coin. Investing in such things as egg cookers helps to provide vast amounts of dust even from a 2 kilometers egg. This dust can be used to power up those elite and special forces. Lucky eggs become more important in the higher levels of the 20s than earlier levels because the distance between leveling up is far greater. So a Tatsujin should consider investing in these during this period of time. Incense is always more important than a lure. The reason is lures are only good for Pokéstops which require you to stay in one place for a long period of time, but incense travels with you allowing you discover potentially more Pokémon. With incense one will also attract the most common Pokémon, allowing a Tatsujin to build foot soldiers for their army. The first thing we noticed is the frequency of supplies the Pokéstops hand out. It seems that the Pokéstops pretty much follow a certain pattern all the time, no matter how many times one visits the same Pokéstop or when one visits the Pokéstop. Since the recent update though, the original frequency has been changed to meet the demands of the players. It appears revive crystals are now way less common and various potions are more common. Also it appears the frequency of the quantity of items being handed out has also changed in such a way that a player may see more items per stop than just the basic 3. The chances are good that once an egg has hatched, the next Pokéstop you visit you will get a new egg to cook. In fact, it seems the game wants to give you all 9 eggs to carry all the time. It seems that when a lure is involved with a Pokéstop, the more people playing Pokemon Go at the time, the greater the potential chance of random Pokemon showing up to be caught. Also, if there are 2 or 3 Pokéstops really close to each other with lures in them, this also significantly increases the odds of this occurring as well. This seems still be true for the recent update. A Tatsujin needs to be aware of how the supplies are being handed out by Pokéstops in order to plan battle strategies. Since revives appear harder to combine, fainting is a strong possibility in battle and common for Pokemon left in gyms. A Tatsujin may need to rely more on armies of disposable foot soldiers for most battles and use them also as placeholders in gyms that are suspected to fall very soon. A Tatsujin may also want to consider doubling up on Elite Force members so one has Pokemon just for battles and Pokemon for gym placement. On average it seems one goes through about 3 Pokeballs of any type per Pokemon, as the result from bouncing off the heads, just dumb misses, or to them breaking out of them. Sometimes you can change the target circle color from the red-orange to light orange to even closer to yellow or green when trying to capture a Pokemon just by feeding it a raspberry then choosing a higher grade Pokeball. Even so, they may still will break out of the dang ball. About 15% of Pokemon seem to run away even when you are standing still. There is a much greater chance of this occurring if one is moving away from the initial area they were discovered. As in, you caught them while moving in a car and the car is moving away from that point. You tend to attract more Pokemon while moving than standing still. This sort of makes sense if you think about it. Since one is traveling into different areas where Pokemon may be nesting at that moment in time, which increases the chance of attracting them. You would think certain kinds of Pokemon, like Ghastly, hang out at graveyards or at night. Ironically, that isn't necessarily true. You are more likely to find a Pidgey than anything else, even at night, despite the recent update. Certain Pokemon seem only to be acquired through the hatching of eggs, and then evolving them from there, like Shelter. With each update there are changes in Pokemon nesting behaviors. Currently there seems to be a wider variety appearing in new places than before. But this could change again with another update. There is a lot attempt to use the standard Pokemon IV individual values strategy with this game. As far as I can tell, it does play somewhat into things, but I'm uncertain of the math involved. Most of actual game data is unknown, so the true values are therefore unknown. From my experience, it seems where gym cracking is concerned, high CP value seems to play a critical factor, although high HP and power-up dust level also helps as well. Type matching attacks against an opponent gym can be somewhat effective for lower CP valued Pokemon, giving them a slight edge. Where Pokemon are concerned, it best to do as the old saying says and go catch them all. The common Pokemon should be farmed by Tatsujin, for not to do so is a waste of resource and XP. With recent upgrades, attempting to hunt down nesting areas by using special apps will get a player banned, so it is best to not to do this and simply invest in incense. A Tatsujin should sort the Pokemon through some method and power up those they plan to use frequently or as special and elite forces. It is highly recommended for a Tatsujin to use the game's sorting features when it comes to organizing the Pokemon one is carrying. Tatsujin Sarah has developed a system in which she first assigns a rank for the different kind of Pokemon from 1 to 3, with unranked Pokemon not to be used except for farming. Those Pokemon dedicated to being in the army are automatically marked as favorite to allow quicker location during the heat of battle. Tatsujin Sarah has further added an additional, more complex component where certain attacks are given a rank of 1 or 2 depending upon the attack strength. Fast attacks of 15 points damage are rank 2, and fast attacks of 25 points are rank 1. Special attacks between 75 points and 99 points are given rank 2, and those higher than 100 points are rank 1. This is all put into a matrix of possible combinations and assigned a letter coding system of A to H for all possible combinations. Lastly, Tatsujin Sarah adds a special character mark to any Pokemon that has a fighting attack for quick reference against Snorlax. All this coding is done by changing the name. A word of caution: changing the name will carry forward when you evolve the Pokemon. So for instance, a name may read 1H*0*. Translation: Elite Force Pokemon, second class fast attack, and has a fighting attack. By using a name sorting method allows a Tatsujin to use the sorting features of the game. Now your Pokemon will be sorted by your ranking system. If this ranking system is put in front of the Pokemon's name, the game will still after that sort by highest CP to lowest CP. By marking your army with favorite, this allows you to quickly access those you want to only use in battle. By using a ranking system for attacks, a Tatsujin is able to determine exactly which Pokemon to focus the dust efforts. Powering up Pokemon who have weak attacks makes little sense long term, although a Tatsujin must be frugal with the dust as well. For powering up NCP Pokemon because it has the best moves makes little sense, for it will take forever to get it up to combat readiness. This is the last lesson of Bunyu for now. I am Mr. Botuo, the humble scribe of Tatsujin Sarah.